All right, our customer has called us out here because this white oak is presenting a problem. The problem is very simply that late last season it lost its leaves prematurely, and in the earlier part of the season there was a tremendous amount of insect frass, waste, excrement, poo-poo from the aphids in this tree that covered the cars and got to be a real problem. But by the time she got the money, this is an older lady on a fixed income, by the time she got her money in the budget, it was late in the fall and the tree had already begun to divert its resources to root growth and had shed its leaves, and it was too late for us to do the application. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to apply a micro injection using a certain brand of product that we have found useful for us. We're not telling you that you have to use this, but there's 3 or 4 different styles or types of equipment and hardware that can be used. We have chosen to use this particular one that you're going to see us use for this application, and we're going to use a insecticide. We're going to use Merit. It's a imidacloprid, and we need to get in as early as we possibly can because there's a 3-month translocation. In other words, 3 months to get it completely up into the tree and get it effective to where it's using. And we're also going to add a multi-nutrient, an NPK chemical formulation that boosts its growth, because there was a tree right beside it over here that was lightning struck, and when the lightning struck that tree, it's within just a very short distance. As you can see, we're almost positive that that huge a jolt of electricity affected the root system of this tree and caused it to divert resources to it. And so I'm going to get one quick measurement of a DBH. That's a diameter at breast height. This is a special a tape that allows me to do that. And we're going to go around. And the recorded DBH of this tree is 27.5 inches. And the more meaningful measurement will be around the collar of the tree. We've been here before 3 years ago, and we cleaned out the collar, and as you can see, it's been filled back in. It was micro-injected. This tree has been sort of a continuous management problem because it's right here by the driveway, it's right by the porch, it's right beside the house, and represents an extremely hazardous tree if something were to happen to it. So we have taken extra precautions to make sure that this tree is structurally sound. When we measured down here, it was 9.5 feet. If you put your micro injection capsules in every 6 inches, that means you're going to have 19 or 20 of them to go around. And so price it accordingly. We usually double the price of the cap, which is around $5 or $6, so it's $10, $12 a cap, and then a certain amount for application, depending on how far it is from the job. We would charge anywhere from $50 to $75 or $125 application fee to put it in. There are additional applications to the bark that we're going to make with our special bark surfactant. We use Pintra bark, and we're going to show you the special mixture that we use that will secure this particular part of the tree is looking like it's really been compromised with some insects. We don't know exactly what. It's early in the season, and so we're going to get started with it. But this is the preparation, this is the location, and this is the history of this tree that indicates what we're about to tell you we're going to do. All right, I'm getting ready to micro-inject 2 types of micro-injectable materials, like I said, Merit and Sistrex. I have them here. They come in boxes that are just like this. They contain 25. You can buy them in 50 or 100. This is early in the season. We don't need a whole lot of this stuff sitting around, and so we got them 25 at a time, and they come in a capsule that looks just like this. We're going to put them in the box. Got your MSDS sheet, everything you need right here that comes along with it. I've got a belt on that contains a drill that has an 11/64 inch bit on it, and before I use it, I'm going to spray it with alcohol. I'm going to get a brush, I'm going to clean it up and sanitize it. At one time, we used a strong mixture of Clorox, but the Clorox would drain down into the gears of my drill, and it totaled my drill. I couldn't use it anymore, and a couple $100 was too much, and so that's why we went to an alcohol solution. And so I'm going to put that right here. I'm going to take some latex gloves, and I'm going to put those on as well. Hope you like the pretty green color. You can get them in any color that you want. We try and get something that's very visible and cover your skin, cover your hands, cover your arms, cover your face, mouth, eyes, and since we don't have any sound problems, we don't have to worry about the earmuffs, but I've got headgear, and it's important, at least we think it's important, that you use a ratcheting adjustable piece of equipment here, because during the winter when you've got a toboggan and ear muffs on, you're going to need to tighten it and use it. When you use a shield like this, it's heavy. This gives me the face protection I want, but it's also, if it's not tight, it rides down on my face and falls down and interferes with what I'm doing. And so I tighten it up a little bit, and I've got my shield in place, got my gloves, got my sleeves, got my equipment. For the TreeTech type of product that we have, we've got this micro injection capsule, and along with it you get a tip that looks like this. Okay, and what we do is insert this tip in the end, and we have a striker cap that goes on the top. We'll show you how all this fits together right now in just a minute. We drill an 11/64 hole at a 45-degree angle and apply it in the crown, the root collar of the tree at the flare every 6 inches, and pressurize it with 20 pounds of pressure. And so we'll go to the tree and we'll show you exactly how we do that. We are in inoculation and population control, and we're out here at a tree of a customer that we've been called to, and I'm going to give you the diagnostic sequence that we're following that indicated the types of micro-injection, fungicide, and insecticide that we're going to be using. And remember, pesticide is any substance intended for preventing, destroying, repelling, or mitigating forms of life declared to be pest. And so that can vary depending on what customer that you come that brings you to their yard and tells you what their problem is, and you'll decide if there's an action threshold there. And you're going to need, for every product, you're going to need 3 identifiers. You're going to need the brand name, the product name, the common chemical name, and the EPA registration number. And so make sure you've got your MSDS sheet, and we're going to be covering a number of details which are required, not the least of which is protective clothing. And it must be worn whenever the wearer faces potential hazards for chemical exposure. And I've got some of it on now, but I'm going to go into it in some detail in just 1 minute, and then we'll tell you what the diagnostic sequence is for this tree and what we're going to apply.